Ladies and gentlemen, we meet again towards Parshat Chayei Sarah, and we find a very interesting point as far as davening is concerned that I would like to look into on a deeper level and try and understand. We saw last week that Avraham was davening for Sodom to try and save them, and this week we find something different, but I first want to look at a few questions. Question number one is that the Parsha begins with Avraham wanting to bury his beloved wife Sarah. And for that, he goes to buy Ma'arat HaMachpelah. And every time Ma'arat HaMachpelah is mentioned, it says Ma'ara Asher Basadeh. Okay, we get it. That the Ma'ara, this cave for burial, is in the field of Ephron Achiti. And every time, though, we mention Ma'arat HaMachpelah Asher Basadeh, every time, 8 times in the first few psukim of this parsha where he's burying his wife, every time it mentions Ma'arat HaMachpelah, it talks about it, which is in the field. We know it's in the field. Why is it repeating itself? To strengthen this question, I'd like to go to the end of the parsha, when Avraham passes away at the age of 175, and he's buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah, Asher Basadeh, again and again. It is mentioned in the Ma'arat HaMachpelah, and it is talking about the field. What is the importance of this field? I'd like to leave this question hanging in the back of your mind and take you on a field trip. And let's go somewhere else. In the field, we know usually on a wild field we have bushes and we have vegetation, we have trees. What is the beginning of vegetation and trees and bushes? And that when the world was created, there were no trees and bushes and vegetation. That's what the pasuk says in Bereshit. No bushes and no vegetation were tall on the land. And in the field there was no vegetation at all. Because Hashem didn't bring rain yet. So the seeds were there, but without rain, it would not shoot up. And there's no man around to make sure to attend to the growth of these things. Rashi there on the part there says that simply it's a matter of davening, because we know that it's thanks to davening that we have rain, and therefore that means siach is a word of conversation. And when we daven, we're in conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that is actually what the Vilna Gaon says in a very beautiful sentence. He says, when I daven, I'm speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when I learn Torah, he is speaking to me, which is a beautiful thing, because a conversation is a dialogue. It's got two sides. A conversation has two sides to it. And when we are davening, we are speaking, we're praying, we're speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we read his Torah, he is speaking to us. In fact, in every shul, in every synagogue, the two main places is the place where the Chazan davens, which is where he is leading us to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then there's the shulchan, the bima, the big table, where we put the Sefer Torah, where we read the Torah, where he's speaking to us. Basically, a shul, a bet midrash, a bet knesset, is the central place for our conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our dialogue, and therefore davening is mentioned as a siach, as a conversation. And we find out that at the end of davening, we say something that completes what we say in the beginning of davening. Beginning of davening, we say, when we say Birkas HaTorah, and we say אשר קידשנו מצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי Torah. We want to do the mitzvah of Torah. What do we ask for? Ha'arevna. That it should be tasty. We should enjoy learning your Torah. And then what do we say at the end of davening? V'over l'Hashem minchat Yehuda v'Yerushalayim. At the end of Shmoneh Esrei, we say, and we hope that our davening to you will also be tasty. That means not only a dialogue. We want to be happy with what we're saying to Hashem. We want him to be happy with what we're saying to him, and we want to be happy with what we're hearing back from him. That's what a good dialogue is all about. People look for that inspiration. And for that inspiration for davening, people go to shul, but people also go to the kivrei tzadikim, to places of burial of great people, to get inspiration. We're not praying chas v'shalom to the dead people or to the grave, but we are trying to get inspiration. We're thinking of that person, and we're trying to get inspiration from that person. And that gives us inspiration. But where is it? There's so many people who spend so much time and effort to go to graves of big tzadikim and to daven there. But what is the source of this idea that you go to a grave of an important tzaddik to get inspiration? And I think from this week's parsha we can get a hint into that question, and find an answer, which is the following. In the middle of the parsha, we have a pasuk, but before that pasuk, one final thing is I want to teach you a short lesson in the Hebrew language, in the dikduk, in how one pronounces certain words and how it works exactly. When I would say for you, I'm waiting for you in a house, not out in the rain. So I'm waiting for you b'bayit. I'm waiting for you in a house. But if I say to you, I'm waiting for you b'bayit with a patach, that means I'm waiting for you in the house. In the house, which is the house that we know. That means usually it's my house, or the house that has been prearranged, the house that we are talking about in any case, that is the house. So B means in, Ba means in the. In the middle of this parsha, we have something fantastic. We have Yitzchak davening mincha. So how does it say Yitzchak is davening mincha? Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach. Okay, we know lasuach is davening. He went lasuach ba'sadeh. He went into the field, which is the well-known field. Which is the well-known field? In this parsha, there's only one well-known field. The field where Sarah is buried. Mentioned 8 times at the beginning of the parsha and twice at the end of the parsha. Sadeh, 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 sadeh. The field in this week's parsha is only one place. So he wanted to daven mincha, and he wanted to daven with inspiration. So where does he go? He goes ba'sadeh. He goes to daven by the graveside of his mother to get inspiration, that he should get a nice color. And as he's talking, Rivka comes along, and the rest is history. Baruch Hashem, we have to concentrate and try and find inspiration in our davening, the way Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov looked for inspiration in their davening. We have to look for inspiration in our davening too. Shabbat Shalom.